Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Hayden from HHWCUSTOMS.com, and today we're going to be talking about the lifted 83 Silverado base and interior that I made. This is a direct swap for the new casting of the Silverado, and it features a lot more detail compared to the original. It comes in two pieces, and let me show you what it looks like. Alright, so this is the lifted base itself. This is what you're going to see on the bottom end for the most part, and it has a lot of detail. You can see you have the transfer cases, drive shafts, leaf springs, and even a full exhaust that goes straight past the transmission and what would be the engine. So I think that's really cool. Here's a look on the screen of the digital version of it. I think it has a lot of detail that a lot of people can paint up and add a little more flair to their customs with. I think it's pretty nice. And of course I have my name and stuff like that up here underneath the grill, and of course the markings usual, HHWCUSTOMS.com, and what car they go to, an 83 Silverado. So as I mentioned, this is a direct swap, so that does include the grill. Now this is a 91 Suburban style grill that it has on there, and of course a bumper with this nice license plate frame, and this is 5mm by 2.5mm, so you can actually fit the license plates that I sell, and they will fit right there in that spot. And of course you have the Chevy bow tie right in front. Now this is very, very nice. I even added these privacy covers here because when you have the car lifted, you don't want to be able to see straight through. You want it to block off like the engine would. Now in my original design, I never really talked about this on my original design, I actually had an engine in there, but I was having so much pain with clearance issues that I just decided to opt out and to make these privacy covers instead. So that's what we ended up with. Maybe in another version I'll have an engine in there, but for right now, here's what we're with. Now, this does have, like I said, leaf springs and shocks and all the little details. You can see this is the transfer case, and attached to that is a transmission housing that I actually use on the 55 gasser. So I try to use as much parts over and over again because they look nice and they fit a multitude of projects. And of course, you can see the dual exhaust going right outside. And if you look on the one that's already put together, you can see they fit right there. Now, unfortunately, there is no back bumper on this. Now, a couple years ago, I actually made a lowered base for the Silverado with a rear bumper. So it plugged up those holes, made a rear bumper, wrapped around. I thought it looked pretty cool, but unfortunately it did not sell well. So I'm not gonna be making any more of those. But if there's enough requests, I could try and figure something out for these. So now let's move into the interior. The interior is rather basic, if I'm being honest with you. It is just the standard 83 interior I had made a while back, but I actually went ahead and added a gear shifter down there. And I even went and made the bed longer, so you can actually see that in action here. On my previous versions, the bed actually cut out right about there with my fingernail, and it would have allowed the base to be shown through, and you could see this a blank kind of little thing, and I didn't like that. So I actually went ahead, and a buddy gave me this idea a while back for the regular one, but I decided to make it for this lifted one. So I thought that was a pretty cool little thing, and it actually fills in those wheel wells there. So I'm actually going to take this apart so you guys can see it. And as I mentioned, this is a direct fit, so you do not need to do any sort of sanding or drilling and stuff like that on the actual car other than taking it apart. And of course, because it's lifted, you don't even need to trim the window stems as opposed to the lowered one. But we go ahead and take this out. You can actually go ahead and see that those wheel housings are there, and then you can push this back in and boom, covers it up. Very nice. Now for this example, my window is cut, but they will fit on the regular one. I did this because people could not see the interior because somehow the windows got all foggy and scratched up. I don't know what happened there, but I went ahead and cut them out. That way you guys can see it, because the interior does rely on this window frame, or the window itself, to keep itself positioned correctly. So you can cut a little bit of it, but make sure it has the two ends or something to keep it from going too far up. Otherwise it's gonna do something like that. So that's just so you know. And let's just look at it on the bottom here. You can see there is no sort of modifications to it at all. This is a stock paint job, other than just opening up the casting itself. There's nothing else you needed to do. No sanding, no cutting, no dremeling, no nothing. So I think that's really cool. I try to make a lot of my kits to be like that, where it's just a direct fit and you don't need to do stuff. But unfortunately, on some newer stuff I'm working on, you are gonna have to do some trimming. But for this one, don't worry about that. You'll worry about that in the future. Now here's a look at the interior on the computer. You can see the gauges and stuff like that are all pretty detailed. Of course, nothing too crazy because it won't print, but pretty nice, basic, but clean setup. And I'm going to go ahead and reassemble all this stuff now so you guys can get a roll test. I should have done that earlier. But obviously, when you have the wheels so high, just like this, or yeah, when you raise the car. But obviously, when you raise the car as much as this, you are not going to run into any clearance issues at all because there's nothing to rub. So there you go, guys. This is what the end result looks like. You can see, even with these large wheels, I believe these are 16.6 millimeter wheels here on both front and rear, and they have no issues running. They have no issues with rubbing, and looks really fitting on this truck, I'm being honest with you. So if you guys are interested, please check out my website, HHWCUSTOMS.com. I do have about 16 of these available as of filming. I just restocked. And like I said, I've had these available for a little bit, but I just forgot to make a YouTube video on it. But if you guys have any suggestions for any other videos or 3D parts that you want me to make, please let me know in the comments below or shoot me an email and I'll try to get those out to you. I'm trying to come out with something new every single week. So thank you guys very much for watching. And if you guys have not subscribed, please subscribe. It does help me. And I'll see you guys in the next video.